There is one very important and major thing that you need to know when it comes to actual getting good legendary weapons, because you can by all means get crappy legendary weapons. What is the ideal weapons that I should be looking for, and whenever I'm farming with my friends, what should I be precisely looking for? This is especially true because it gives the game replayability, and maybe you're going to be farming some stuff once you reach the max level of the cap of your character to get ideal weapons. Now, the one thing that you need to have in mind is that you shouldn't really worry yourself that much about getting a very good weapon while you're leveling up. You shouldn't waste time to get very good weapons while you're leveling up, because at the end of the day you're going to outlevel those weapons, and there is no way to upgrade your weapons. They are based on the loot, on the level that you had when you loot them. So for example, if I'm level 17, I'm going to have a level 17 legendary weapon right in here. But it might just be the case that this could potentially, I don't like the perks and the stats and the accessories that these things have, because they actually do come with different things that we're going to deep dive right into them. But I want to make clear that while you're leveling up, just getting a legendary is going to be more than enough to outclass the damage and DPS of the rest of the things that you're going to have out there. Now, once you reach level 50, where you cannot go beyond that cap, and you can actually have set fixed weapons, and you want to be la creme de la creme, you want to get the best of the best, you want to have something really good, this is where the real grind is going to start, and this is where things are going to start being amazingly fun, because you can farm with your friends and you can just endlessly farm like we love to do in this types of games to get the most legendary weapons of the entirety, legendary things of everything. So what I mean by that is that each weapon, once you take a look at it, you will see that each legendary weapon has a distinction on the name. The distinction on the name is going to be, to some extent, giving you an idea of what is it that it is going to have as a base, aside from being a legendary weapon. So the legendary weapon that we have right in here is the Econ Stream. And the variant that I had for Econ Stream on my drop, it's the rusted industrialized one. And those might be the things that you might know as affixes of the weapon, because you will see that I have a whole bunch of them. I have the rusted state Econ Stream, I have the collectivities Econ Stream, I have the Tucci Econ Stream, and then we have the municipal Econ Stream, and then finally the rusted people Econ Stream, which I believe that it is very similar to the rusted state Econ Stream. If I manage to get a rusted people's Econ Stream, then these guys are going to be somewhat fairly similar and are going to give me an idea that they're going to be fairly close to one to another. Now, the interesting thing about the weapons and the major changes that they are going to have, it's going to be on the perks. So the accessories as well. So if I inspect this weapon, you will notice that it has a specific sight, and it could also may come or may not come with a specific type of handle. So this one has this type of sight, and then once I go right in here, you will notice that this, for example, has this specific handle. This is going to be altering to some extent how I handle patent redundance, how I handle my weapon and the accuracy of the weapon, opposite to, for example, this other one that I have right here. This one has a different handle. Now that is going to be mainly altering the cosmetic aspect of the weapon. The sight, to some extent, is going to be dependent on your preference and what is it that you would want to have in your weapon. I, for example, like to have rounded sights because I'm not sure, dude, I just like them. And this one, it's like the perfect option for me because this has a round sight. Now, legendary weapons are going to always have their specific perk that they come with, at least one. This one, it's always going to be guaranteed to have a alt fire. The extra barrel is going to enable a second barrel, increasing the fire rate. This is going to be quintessential on me deciding which one of these legendaries is going to be good or not. But not only that, all of these legendaries are going to alter the base stats that they have and the DPS therefore. So for example, I have a bunch of level 17s right in here. You will see that this one has 214 DPS, this one has 224 DPS, this one has 177 DPS while still being a level 17. This one has 200 DPS right in here, but it's still my favorite, and I'll tell you why in a little second. So you have to have in mind, yes, the accuracy of the weapon, but what's really going to determine your overall DPS and damage that you're going to deal, it's not going to be the accuracy of the weapon, it's going to be the base damage. This one has a base damage per bullet of 34 damage. This one has 26. And to remember that this is actually different than this that's level 17. So yes, by all means, you can get more damage per bullet on your legendary weapons, more or less. So for example, this one has 34, 26 and 21. There's a huge gapping difference in between my 21 damage and then the 34 damage. But there's also a logical reason behind that and what's going to alter ultimately the DPS of my weapon. The fire rate. The more fire rate that I have with my weapon, the more DPS I'm going to be dishing out, and therefore the less base value damage that the weapon should have. So for example, this one right in here, it has less damage, but you will notice that it has more DPS because it has a higher fire rate. Not only that is going to alter the DPS, the loading time of the weapon. This one loads my weapon in 2.3 seconds. This one actually does in 2.8 seconds. This one right in here 2.5. This one right in here 2.9. So you want to get on your RNG as higher values as possible. And yes, I've gotten in the past a weapon that has lots of damage and lots of fire rate and lots of ammunition. The ammunition is also going to be a major part of everything. And why is this weapon so good, and why is this other weapon not as good as this one, why they have more DPS even though that this has more bullet damage? And that is because you have more bullets on the chamber. This one has 49 bullets on the chamber, this one has 65, and this type of weapon, being a machine gun, it can have as low as 30, as you can see right in here. So this is a very low level weapon, but it makes up for that damage. It's a level 13, but it makes up for that damage. You will see that it's close to these ones that, like for example, this level 17, and this one has more damage because the magazine is not that big, so it's going to give you more damage when it comes to the actual bullet on itself. But the fire rate is not going to be that amazing as the fire rates that these guys have, for example. But you will also notice that I do have a higher magazine right in here with a similar weapon that has more damage. So this would be the variant of this one while you have it leveled up, but this is going to be infinitely times better because it has more bullets on the magazine. And that is not all. You also have to have in mind the actual passive bonuses that they may or may not have. So for example, this has 21 damage per second with a 10% chance of dealing the 21 damage per second. This is a same level, it has the same 21 damage per second, but this one is a level 16 and it has 12. This one, it's a level 17 and it has 19 damage per second. So the higher the value right in there, also the more actual DPS that you're going to be dealing outside from the base DPS of the weapon. Not only that, but legendary weapons may or may not come with extra perks aside from the actual legendary perk that they already have. So this, it's just the base raw weapon on itself, but it can come with the torque licensed sticky magazine, which fires sticky gyro jets that explode on reload. This is very powerful. This is actually one of my favorite perks that I have in the entirety of the game, and it comes with a highly damaging weapon. So this is a very good legendary weapon. One more thing that you need to have into account on your legendary weapon, it's the actual value on things that you are going to be able to do with it and how does it perform as a base standalone weapon. And how it performs as a base standalone legendary weapon on the playstyle that it has. This one, for example, it's a weapon that has two fire modes. One of the fire modes is going to be, well, it's the alt fire, the extra barrel that enables a secondary barrel, increasing the fire rate. So if I were to use that perk, this is one of the most useless weapons. If you get one of this, something similar to this, even though that it has high damage and you get it at your level, it's not going to be that great because it's only going to have 30 bullets on the magazine. And basically the perk of our weapon, what it does is that it gives you more fire rate for more DPS, but if you have such a small magazine and you don't have that much fast reload time, then you're going to be wasting DPS. If we change to our double barrel, this is going to burn to the magazine like in just a couple of seconds, as we're able to see right in here. For this particular weapon, you would want to be looking for something, you will see that this has lots of DPS because of how many bullets it has in the chamber, because of how much fire rate does it have, and once you actually equip this weapon and you switch to the fire mode that adds the double barrel, and you actually load your weapon, you're going to be able to fire it and fire it and fire it like a maniac, and that's going to be laser damage that it's going to be consistent, and that you're not going to have to be loading back and back and back and back and forth because of how much bullets do you have on the magazine. So those are just some general aspects when it comes to talking about a weapon, but that is not all. You can also have legendary perks with the actual items that you have right in here, and these are going to be very much interesting because we have extra. These guys are always going to come with a different perk. So if you manage to get a perk that you don't actually like for your legendary accessories, and you should change it by all means as soon as you can. Like for example, the large pacemaker that I have right in here. This one comes, the pulsometer is always going to be the guaranteed legendary trait that the actual item is going to have. But also, this one has the medic, which on use heals nearby allies for 50% of the rep kit's healing. And if you farm this thing and you think that you didn't like that perk and you say, well, I'm not going to farm for this anymore because I don't like the perk that it comes with, then just remember that the first one, it's the one that matters, because for example, I don't usually play that much on multiplayer. My friends do not like to play this game that much. They're playing different things, so I know that I'm not going to be using medic, because medic, it's a perk that you would be using on multiplayer. So in single player, that is completely wasted. So I want to get something different, like for example, the elemental affinity that on usage grants you increased elemental damage dealt by 25% for 8 seconds. This is amazing for synergy with an elemental build, and this works perfectly fine on single player, something that this one doesn't. And I do want to stress out that nothing of this is going to matter when you're leveling up. When you're leveling up, you get a legendary, just keep that legendary because it's going to allow you to breeze through the course of the game very good, without any major issues. However, once you max out your character, level 50, you want to be la creme de la creme, you're playing with your friends, you're farming for stuff, make sure to farm for something that you think that you like, and do not settle with something that it has crappy stats and crappy perks that are not going to benefit your build. If you like the content, a like and a video is super appreciated. And also, you're gorgeous and beautiful person. You're indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel, you're in Discord. Have a beautiful day, goodbye.